What's going on, everybody? It is time for episode number 53. Truth will set you free here on lovely June 8th. By the way, this is 1 year anniversary from our first show with the Cashley Kelly. It's within a day or two, so this is a year since we finally got to bring Cash on the show. We'll give a little recap of what's going on with him. There's some positive news there. We also have a discussion of Mr. Fauci, talk a little bit about those emails that seem to be continuously suppressed by mainstream media. Kamala, good old Kamala talked about her lack of vacations to Europe. We're going to talk about a pending potential cyber attack on the United States that mirrors something very similar to COVID. And of course, we're going to talk about the Michelle incident from last week, her being on the show and the video that she put out and her and Sunni's exchange a little bit. We'll talk more about that and just the inability for people to actually follow through with listening, and maybe just maybe we can eventually get through to people. And that'll also bring up the conversation about Minnesota and the riots going on right there. So if you could, ladies and gentlemen, I see you guys in the chat box. Do me a favor. The group is growing. The crowd is growing. I need you guys to hit that like button, hit the hearts, hit the care button. We also have a special guest from Liberty Revolt. Cole is going to be on the show, and Sunni and Casey, they're going to be here as well. As Rob says in the bottom, please like and share. I'm not seeing a ton of likes just yet, guys. I need to see the thumbs. I need to see care. I need to see hearts. If you are on YouTube, all you got to do for that is get the comments off to the side, swipe them off to the side. Yes, Brent, the riots in Minnesota. You don't really hear much about it, but yes, the riots in Minnesota. All right, guys, let's go ahead and get the show started. Coming in hot in 30 seconds. What's going on, everybody? It is Anthony Russo from #BetheChange. Thank you guys for joining us. It is Truth Will Set You Free, True Tuesdays right here. So thank you guys again. Want to get started with just really quick running through the basics, what we got going on. If you guys can do us a huge favor, best way to support us without spending money is follow our podcast. We've got Mata on there. We've got Truth Will Set You Free. We've got Conservengers and Changemakers. Tomorrow night, we've got a great Changemakers coming up. We got this man, Jermaine Jordan, will be on the show, 42-year-old from West Chicago, and he is creating change in lives across the West Side and giving back to the community. Had a huge GoFundMe of over 6 figures and is doing what it takes to actually create action and change in your community. So that's Changemakers. Again, we have all of our shows on the podcast. Just by creating subscribers and likes, that's how you can help us if you cannot afford to be a part of our Patreon, which is about $5 a month is how it starts. And I'm going to run that throughout the show on the bottom if you guys would like to join us as Patreons. We do Motivational Mondays and different fun stuff there, and that's going to be along the bottom if you want to donate to our cause and what we do and the ability to keep doing these shows. That's where you do it. It's on the bottom scroll as we speak. Patreon.com/BetheChange USA. You get a little extra pizzazz to it. With that said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the people that we have here with us today. We are excited to have them. First up, you got your man, Casey, everybody's favorite libertarian. What's up, brother?
Not much, man. Ready for a good show and a good conversation.
Love it. Absolutely love it. And from Liberty Revolt, Cole Masters.
What's up, guys? Always happy to be here. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you for being on. And I think, we talked last night, and I think we're going to have more shows together with your crew and make sure that we're doing some live streams as a group. And you, Cole, go ahead and give everybody an update, because I think some people are like, is Liberty Revolt gone? Are you guys still doing shows? What's going on? So what's the latest on what's happening with Liberty Revolt Media?
Oh, yeah. So we've been going really hard lately. We went to the Libertarian Convention lately. Sorry, Casey, we couldn't bring you along for that. And we got to meet all the candidates there, Spike Cohen, Joe Jorgensen, kind of some power players in the party. So we've really been working to get them as guests on the show and get other profile guests on our radio show, guys. We're on the radio mostly, but now that this is all winding down, we're going to have a conversation with Joe Jorgensen tomorrow on our show. You guys are going to be a part of that. We're looking forward to it. But after that, we plan to do more lives, be here at least bi-weekly, on our page, on your page, wherever we can be. So we're happy. We hope we can bring these guests on with us, and we got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the future.
Love it. Somebody asked how they could recommend somebody for Changemakers. Go ahead and just email. Let me see if I have it on here. Our basic email is relatively easy to remember. It's just you can be the change now. You can, spelled out, you can be the change now at gmail.com. If you guys want that, I don't see it actually written up, and I'm not going to do it now. But yes, please send that. Send a message also to the Be the Change Facebook page. I want to give a special shout out to one of our amazing Be the Changers / Streetlights. This is Renee Mark sent me this. It's a pretty cool little Tumblr. It's got Russo on it and Be the Change. I dig it. And I think she has those on her website. She sent me a message earlier. Where is it at, Renee? Let's see. If anybody wants it, hit up Renee Marks. They're like $25. So they're pretty cool little cups. And my water is still cold from earlier. So Suni is going to be jumping on in just a second. She had to run. We had a meeting earlier, but she's backstage, and we'll bring her up shortly, which is obviously when we're going to be talking about Michelle Hollis and the interesting spin of that. That's pretty much it in terms of clothing. As you can see, Casey's got the Be the Change shirt. I've got Action Over Awareness. Suni, I'm going to be sending her Be the Effing Change shirt. So make sure you check out merch if you want to do that for us. And I promise this is the last bit of, there it is right there. #BetheChange.com / it's not shop one. It's actually just shop. That was a complete lie right there. So I'll have that up on the bottom. And yeah, there, simple as that. Go to #BetheChange.com, click shop. Cool. That's all we got, guys, in terms of that. Let's talk about the news. I'm going to go ahead and start with my philosophy on the potential cyber attack and the risk behind it. And I'm going to play a video in a second. And if anybody remembers Event 201, Cole, I believe you know what Event 201 is, correct? With the pre-pandemic. So Event 201 was something that the government did in order to show almost a test, a quick run through of what would happen if there was a pandemic. Ironically enough, things happened the exact same way as Event 201. And that's why a lot of quote unquote conspiracy theorists are like, oh, they had this planned all along, yada, yada, yada. You can believe whatever you want. But it's ironic that they are now doing something very, very similar, very, very similar in terms of cyber attacks and power grid. So I'm going to go ahead and play a video that has actually since been taken down by the company that put it up because of similar things, because they're about to be running a very similar test. So I'm going to play this.
The COVID-19 pandemic has shaken our economies and societies to the core and shown us how vulnerable we are to biological threats. In the digital world, similar risks are being overlooked right now. A cyber attack with COVID-like characteristics would spread faster and further than any biological virus. Its reproductive rate would be around 10 times greater than what we've experienced with the coronavirus. To give you an idea, one of the fastest worms in history, the 2003 Slammer sapphire worm, doubled in size approximately every 8.5 seconds, infecting over 75,000 devices in 10 minutes and almost 11 million devices in 24 hours. Fortunately, at least until now, cyber attacks have not impacted our health the way pandemics have, but the economic damages, and therefore the impact they have had on our daily lives, have been equal and sometimes even greater. You see, the only way to stop the exponential propagation of a COVID-like cyber threat is to fully disconnect the millions of vulnerable devices from one another and from the internet. All of this in a matter of days. A single day without the internet would cost our economies more than $50 billion, and that's before considering the economic and societal damages should these devices be linked to essential services such as transport or healthcare. As the digital realm increasingly merges with our physical world, the ripple effects of cyber attacks on our safety just keep on expanding at a faster pace than what we're preparing for. COVID-19 was known as an anticipated risk. So is the digital equivalent. Let's be better prepared for that one. The time is now.
That sounds fantastic. before I go into the article regarding Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm, what is your initial thoughts? Cole, I'll start with you. What is your initial thoughts when it comes to the potential? Is this a conspiracy theory? Is it not a conspiracy theory?
I mean, it's absolutely not a conspiracy theory. In fact, the people who are calling it a conspiracy theory are calling it a mainstream media conspiracy theory. And this has been a lot of leftists. You guys know I spend time on leftist Twitter saying that basically, we shouldn't demonize our rivals and try to drum up civil war or a new Cold War based on these ludicrous threats of a power grid attack. And this is coming in the wake of, the pipeline attack, and that company actually paying the Russians, paying the ransom for after the attack, and the U.S. government just letting it happen. And then one of our biggest meat manufacturing plants getting hit, JD, after that. So this is coming on the heels of these things that have literally already happened, and the government's response to has been lackluster at best and negligent at worst. So, the fact that we're thinking about this and looking at this is absolutely necessary. And it's not a conspiracy in the least, because the power grid is connected to every single integral part of digital infrastructure in the U.S. already.
100% correct. I'm going to bring up SUNY, and that's how I feel about it as well. I did have a conversation earlier today. Interestingly enough, they recovered 85% of the money that was used in the ransom for the cyber attack. Correct. What's interesting with crypto, what people aren't realizing is typically the people that set these hacks up charge a 15% fee. It's ironic that 85% is what was recovered. And I had that interesting conversation earlier today. It just means the people that did it sucked at hiding their tracks. I'm going to bring SUNY up, and then I'll have Casey chime in. SUNY, what's going on? Hi.
I'm muted. Sorry.
We should create a SUNY shirt that says, SUNY, I'm muted.
I'll buy it.
I bet you people would buy that.
Yeah, people would, I think. Casey, what do you think about the idea and thought of a potential cyber attack on the United States?
Well, I've never seen that video before. That's the first time I've seen that.
Most people won't, by the way. It's been taken down. So
I'm mulling it over, and some of the what was explained in there, I think it is a little bit of propaganda, is what I was seeing in there, because it wasn't specific. It was just vague and threats. It didn't really give a whole lot of detail. It just says we're unsecure. Well, and that's the part that people have to understand. The internet is unsecure if the people that are running it don't know what they're doing. Our U.S. government is super unsecure. Like, it's not secure at all. Like, you think they are, but they're not. Like, our military, like the Apaches that they fly are super old school. They can be handled in a lot of ways. A lot of people don't realize that. And the part that we need to look at in these scenarios is when we say cyber attack, let's be specific. Like, what is the goal is, which I know part of it is going to be the power grid. That's going to be part of the conversation. Yes, that is super vulnerable. The other part is to look at ransomware. So ransomware is what attacked the pipeline. Went after JBS, I think, is the meatpacking plant. Ransomware. Ransomware is nothing new. It's been around for a very, very long time. I have dealt with it personally in my job many, many times for a lot of our customers that have ran into ransomware and recovered from it. You don't have to pay that ransom. There's many nonprofits out there that will help you get around it, the ransomware, because all it is it just encrypts the hard drive on the computer. The part that we got to remember and realize is ransomware has been around forever, and it's been constantly attacking our government. The city of New Orleans has paid ransomware 3 times. And I want to say it was $5 million each ransom. And that was during Trump's era. And then the city of Tennessee was caught with ransomware. They paid it. Many other cities were caught with ransomware, and they just pay the money because it's easier to them, because it's the government. The government doesn't care how much money they spend. They just spend it. And so that is where I'm concerned with the power grid part. And that's where Texas has some luxury being where they're at, and how they're set up, as long as they protect themselves. But all the other states have to rely on the government to protect, and all the other states to do their duty to keep the grid safe because we're all connected together. So I'm not surprised to hear this. I didn't like the video because it was propaganda in my mind, setting fear in people's minds instead of being something specific by saying, this is what we need to do, or this is our game plan, or this is where we need to get in touch with these people, and this is what we're doing type of thing. And so, yeah, it could be setting the stage. I'm not going to say it's a conspiracy theorist thing because it's very likely to happen.
So this was, to be clear, this was, hold on, where am I getting that echo from?
Could be me because every time I click it.
Oh, sorry. There we go. Check. Yeah. All right. So I agree with you. And I also, the reason I don't necessarily say this was not a mass spread. This was internal with that organization that created it. And it got shared and then taken down. I think it was, the purpose was taking people in a symposium and showing them, and then it got taken down. I think it's interesting you brought up Texas, because what just happened to Texas? We had a failure of the power grid to try to force them to be more part of the federal infrastructure while there is the potential of what's going on. I'm going to go to Suni next, but the thing that makes me realize that this is what they're essentially bringing up is look at what's going on. We don't have enough microchips for farm equipment. We don't have enough microchips for new cars. We don't have enough microchips. And this is all from China. Obviously, let's be honest, who we're the most afraid of this from? Energy Secretary Jennifer Granholm on Sunday, this last Sunday, admitted that the U.S. adversaries currently have the capability to shut down U.S. power grids with cyber attacks. CNN's State of the Union anchor Jake Tapper asked Granholm whether she believed that the U.S. adversaries pose a potential threat to U.S. power grids, and her response was, yes, they do. That's absolutely terrifying. And at the same time, the reason I want Suni to respond on this part is we always talk about distractions, like different media distractions. I feel like everything going on right now could be a distraction to something like this. And this is something that I could potentially say 2 years from now, like, called it. Suni, what do you think about this cyber attack possibility?
I called it in February.
Oh, did you?
February 19th, I put together this large post where I talked about how the same day Biden shut down the Keystone Pipeline, he also undid an executive order that Trump signed so that we weren't getting so many power grids from China because they put things into those big machines. They have software chips in there that are easily hackable. I mean, these are things that I warn people about. So when I seen it, I put up a post. I'm like, look, I told you, I'm going to show you. I told everybody there's a reason he did what he did. And now we get to see it. Yeah. Oh, that's the wrong page.
Let me know when you bring it up.
I got 1,000 screens open over here. Hold
on.
And
it is mind-boggling because there's now more information coming out, even more so about the Keystone Pipeline related to the Russian pipeline, that the same company that did the Russian pipeline is, and somebody sent me this and I was like, I need to cross-reference it. It's looking, still alleged, but looking very true that his campaign got finances from the same organization and company that runs the Russian pipeline. And it's like, and mainstream media is dead silent about this. Like, this is the shit that if Trump even breathed on a Russian that literally had a tie to a company that he might have gotten a donation from, they would have flipped their shit. This is what the Democrats deemed an impeachable offense in 2016. And it's just going non-questioned right now. Unquestioned. It's sick. Suni, what do you got back? You want me to bring that up?
Yeah, go ahead. So this is like the long very thought-provoking post I put together. This is back in February. He put together an executive order. It's the executive order 13920. If you want to find it, it's 13920. It is where he closed down the pipeline and he lifted the security protection of our power grid for 90 days. Okay? And in that time period, all the stuff in Texas happened where nobody had power. It's cold as crap. And now all of a sudden, the Secretary of, what is she, Energy? Oh, we're vulnerable. Our adversaries can do whatever they want now. It's no coincidence. This is why Trump signed it in to begin with. he realized he had to shut access down from China. So he completely stopped America from even purchasing power grids from them because we only had 6 American power grids. It's right here. We had 6 American power grids and 30 Chinese power transformer manufacturers. 30. We're not even making it ourselves. So to make a long story short, I warned people in February.
So that would mean that you called it sooner than I did. Sooner than
Caller. People call me sooner all the time.
Yeah, sooners. I want to put that out there. I want people to realize that, this goes back to why is it important what you're voting for? It's like, yes, he had mean tweets, but and he was imperfect in terms of even the cyber attacks. But to know what we're doing from an energy infrastructure, which is technically our biggest, it's our lifeblood. Is power, energy, electricity, commerce is the lifeblood of the United States. It's more than that. It's the lifeblood. It's the nervous system. It's the heart. It's everything all at once. And for us to be vulnerable in that sense right now, more vulnerable than we were before. We're always going to be vulnerable. It's 2021. These threats are out there, but we are drastically more vulnerable now. And I think that's terrifying. And again, if we have to look back, I don't want to be the I told you so when we say I told you so, when we have no power in the United States of America, businesses coming to a screeching halt, and they're doing something very similar to Event 201 that probably people then goes, oh, this is, as Casey would say, this is propaganda. This won't happen. And I get it, because that's what it looks like. I feel like during the middle of COVID, I thought I was in the middle of a sci-fi movie that came out in 2005 where you're hearing the loudspeaker like, please remember to mind the person next to you and remember to keep 6 feet of distance to help the customers. Like, I felt like we were in that movie,
Yeah, anyways, absolutely.
So you think it's propaganda?
No, I did the video they did. It was just promoting fear. And
okay.
It was just a video. Casey still thinks it could happen, obviously, and that it's a big risk.
She's telling everybody, man. I read the article, and she all but said, like, you need to prepare Americans because something can happen. She's literally telling people to prepare.
Yeah, she said, I think there are even bad actors who are trying as we speak. There are thousands of attacks on aspects of the energy sector and the private sector generally. The meat plant, for example, it's happening all the time. I think the meat plant just happened this last week. It's just, this is a big effing deal, really big deal.
For sure.
Yeah. Let's see, what does
that
say?
It's huge. The thing is, the Chinese, they don't really have the hacking capabilities that the Russians do. Otherwise, they would attack us more because the government doesn't give them the free reign, the citizens, the free reign to develop the right skill set and toolkit because they're like, oh, well, they'll just attack us with it or something. So, they want their citizens to be stupid. Whereas in Russia, it's completely unregulated. And they're like, man, well, let's just give these guys supercomputers and see what they can do to hack the USA with it. But I feel like this is the only time that the US actually gets off his ass and does something when it's like a very, very imminent threat. Like with microchips, the only reason we defend Taiwan so aggressively is because they make like 80% of our microchips, right? We wouldn't give a damn about Taiwan otherwise. So it's like it's got to be the hanging threat of the energy grid being attacked for the U.S. to actually mobilize and do something, which pisses me off, first off. And it's like, if you're going to have a Cold War, people are complaining about having a Cold War. Well, Jesus, it's better than having a hot war. It's better to do something now than to wait and do something later.
Well, and you bring up Taiwan. Like, Taiwan has a water crisis. They are predicted to be out of water, literally out of water by August. And so that means all manufacturing of anything electronic out of Taiwan, which is huge, is done.
80% of all
no
chips.
Computer parts will be made for a very long time.
All right, so the next topic I want to talk with you guys, and it's kind of up to Cole because I don't know how long you're going to be here. Do we want to talk Fauci and the emails? Because that happened right after last week's show. Do we want to talk Fauci's emails and the way that it's being portrayed? One side super negative, one side super positive, or do we want to talk Kamala being upset about Europe, not being asked why she's not going to Europe?
I say let's do Fauci. I got a lot to say about. All right,
Fauci, I figured that.
I'll cut out after that.
Let's see. Question, Casey, can you check that? I had a strike on you. It's there. So you can't still super chat. So even though I got a strike on YouTube, they haven't fully demonetized me yet. Casey's gonna give me $1.
Trying it.
Anyway, all right, we'll see if it works. I don't see it. Doesn't like me. All right, so here's what we got.
Security code.
Okay. All right, so Cole, Suni, Casey, Fauci. I see it. There you go. Test. I'll pay you that back in pennies, by the way. Thanks.
Thanks, Jared.
Let's see. All right. So Fauci's emails come out, 3,200 pages. I had Casey looking through it. I was reading through it myself. I had another guy, Todd. He's a chiropractor and bodybuilder, weightlifter. He was looking through it, and we went through everything. I know Blake had posts. Please make it make sense on how people are still defending this man. Who wants to go first?
I don't know about Fauci. I don't pay attention.
I'm happy to jump in
Fauci.
here.
I really do not make COVID a part of my daily life. Okay. I don't look at Fauci. I don't even know anything about this dude. That is how much I have just completely, I don't care. So I wouldn't be adding anything. I'm sorry, guys. Like, I just don't know about Fauci. I really don't. I don't know anything about the.
You and I we've got Kamala and we've got Michelle Hollis coming up. That's going to be right after Cole gets out of here, and then we'll go over that because I cannot wait for that. All right, Cole, go ahead. What do you think of whatever this insanity is?
A couple words, guys. Gain of function research. Fauci literally said in his emails that the price of funding research, which makes super viruses more effective, outweighs the risk of a global pandemic. This is after, in 2017, he gave $17 million as the head of the CDC to the Wuhan super lab where the virus freaking originated. Can we not kid ourselves? Can people quit kidding themselves and saying, it probably came from the wet market 200 feet away from the level 4 super lab where they were studying bat coronaviruses? Like, dudes, this is the most ridiculous non-conspiracy conspiracy, even worse than the power grid, that I've ever personally seen. And I mean, people have been calling this for ages. Like, oh, really? There's a level 4 super lab there. Well, they were funding gain of function research, which is what this virus looks like. They didn't take the precautions they needed to take. Fauci gave them money, and then he said, you know what? If you start a global pandemic with this, it's fine. It's worth it. So, in my mind, you don't need anything else to discredit this guy. You might have to make a leap of faith and say that the virus didn't come from a wet market. Like, no shit.
Every virologist that I spoke with in this, because we started getting these connections where we could have these talks, they were like, here's the problem with the wet market. This virus is showing mutations that are 5 and 6 generations old, which is something that doesn't happen that fast off of something that's literally like 5 years in. It did not look like a novel virus. It was novel because we had never seen it, but it did not hold those characteristics. That was the information I was getting last April, May, and June, where people, this is what they talked about. Then everybody kind of got silenced on it because the ramifications of this are huge. And people will ask me, why does it matter where it came from? Look at how many people are dead. And it's like, because this is an act of war. If you can find any purpose to it, this is an act of war from a superpower nation that actually poses a threat to the United States and the world. That's why it's a big deal. I'll talk more in a second. Casey, what do you think about this? What do you think about Fauci's emails?
The emails are crazy. Like, that day, because of course I was just laying in bed. I'm like, cool, I got something to do. I can read 3,000 pages. And so scrolling through them, it was intriguing. And the first few pages, you didn't find out a whole lot, but you had to get deep in there. And as soon as you did, you started finding a whole bunch of stuff. Like the day before this happened, you already saw the email came out that Fauci said the masks don't work. And he said that they don't work. And then you find that, and it was like on page 2,946 or something like that. But then you find out he also was given, I think it was like on March 12th, 2020, and I think is the date on the email, he was given the instructions on how to make this virus on March 12th via email from someone in a lab. It's like, if we knew that, if we knew how to make it, how do we not know where it came from? Like, how do we not, can't we utilize that to reverse engineer it like we do code and stuff like that?
We know where it came from.
Right? Yeah, but we played
exactly.
ignorant. These people played ignorance for a complete year and 3 months, right? And then you have this in an email. You have all kinds of other stuff in the email. You have a guy claiming being from a hospital in China, claiming he has a cure for it. And Fauci didn't even reply to the email. It's just in there.
Not even, I get that you get a whole bunch of random crap, but if you look through those emails, he didn't get a bunch of that. He got one, maybe two, I think, in there. And the whole, and people complaining about the date on the masks. This is a long-held scientific fact. It doesn't change. And I've said this on every show we've done since these emails have come out. Science doesn't necessarily change. It can evolve, but what changes is the interpretation of science. The fact that he said that the virus will go through the particle, or the particles make it through the mask, and it really doesn't work, that science doesn't change. That's not something that doesn't matter if it's February, March, June. This viruses work based on a size and a scale. So if he already knows at this point, which he did, the size of the molecules of this virus and how big masks are, the store-bought masks, that fact doesn't change. So everybody using that as an excuse should literally understand better how science works. And moving from that point, then why masks? It created this whole sense of panic control, which brings us to the V word, which is where we are today, which the 12 to 18-year-olds aren't getting V'd enough. So what happens? Miraculously, Biden tweets that there's a new variant that is directly attacking and replicating 12 to 18-year-olds more than anybody else. The mindset that is so blind has become, it's like right now, if you are on the left or if you are believing in this whole V philosophy, you could literally throw any bullshit fact up in the air and it's going to be eaten up. And I don't know how to break that level of blindness. And the only way, and this is the final part of this conversation, is the way that the media has portrayed these emails, the CNNs, the CNBCs, to say he is a saint for working as hard as he is. The people that are looking at these are cherry picking the bad ones. That whole philosophy. Jay said that just the same as liberal Jay said that just the same as CNN did. Cherry picking emails. No, you're going through to find stuff. And I think that this is the way that our media has portrayed these emails that are blatantly fucking ridiculous shows what we're up against in terms of mentality of this country. Casey, go ahead.
No, I agree with you. I was just nodding and like, yeah, it's just ridiculous. Like seeing people defend these emails, I'm just like, but look at the content. Like literally read some of these emails. And once you actually read them, and one even says like the COVID bioweapon, and then it actually tells you this whole program of how it can work. And it's like, and reproduce and go through all of these variants. And it turned out to pretty much follow that schedule. And it's like, guys, then we played ignorance for a whole year.
And it takes it, and really, if you look at pharmaceuticals, it is a money play. Let's be completely honest. People are like, how can, and this is another one where people can't think past surface, which then will be our segue into Michelle. The people will say it's free. That like, of course, this is just this public service. Son of a bitch, who do you think pays for it? You do. This is it's not there. It's not like it's not big pharma giving out the vaccine. It is our country paying for it to make it free. Yet oddly enough, the stuff that they could make free, like insulin, chemotherapy, I see people talk about, they choose not to. Fascinating that they're doing this one, that they're creating this mass scare around something that we've also realized that numbers may be off. We realized that Alameda County, I believe, just came up with numbers that were 25% too high. And even then, we're still questioning the actual numbers in terms of death. There's all these issues that are forcing us to take this company. And this is the last thing I'll add on the V word. I talked to somebody today that had a long career in pharmaceutical sales and had to leave. And he goes, I could not be a part of it anymore. If people don't realize that It's got nothing to do with healthcare. It's got everything to do with long-term money. It is an investment. It's the ultimate multi-level marketing, because there's products that he has seen cross in these upstart companies that are curing diabetes, that are drastically affecting lupus, that are doing all these different things to serious issues in our country. And once they get this offer that's astronomical by the GlaxoSmithKlines, by the Pfizer's, by all these different companies, they take it, and all of a sudden 3 years later, those treatments are gone. They've disappeared. Why? Because anything that will help and end things permanently take away the ability for pharma to make money, and that is fact, bar none.
One last note: you said Pfizer. Go back and just look up Pfizer's history and how many times they have been sued for the products they have produced and how much harm they have caused people. If you were
largest corporate fine in history. They paid the largest corporate fine in American history ever.
It's crazy. And people just are trusting this like it's nothing. There's laws in place where we cannot take action against pharmaceutical companies. So all it is a bunch of people making a crap load of money off of our tax dollars on top of it, because again, we are paying for everybody to get the V word. And then on top of it, they're using COVID relief funds to create lotteries in states. This is the biggest okie doke bullshit that's ever been played on the American public, as I'm sure we can assume. It's absolutely insane. And for the person in there that said that you're technically, based on precedent from 1905 and 1922, your rights aren't being violated, which I think is absolute bullshit. They're finding a way to get around it. Hospitals are getting around terminating people not willing to get the V word on a damn experimental shot. I think it's absolutely absurd. I'm not getting it, as you guys all know, and I was actually going to ask the question, and then we'll let Cole go. I was going to ask the question to one of the people that hire me to do things like, am I going to be required to get V-worded to do a job? Ironically, my services after 10 years today, I received an email and yesterday, will no longer be needed by them after 10 years of service at a cut rate, simply because I believe as though a couple of the people that work there follow my social media and disagree with my political voice and views. If I ever get the chutzpah or the need, I will air it as a big national brand. But I find that fascinating that after that many years, I was thinking I was going to have to ask the V word question. Instead, I just got the boot anyways. That's the America we live in right now. With no words, not even a end review. I just wanted them to say it. Anywho, thank you very much, Robert. Appreciate you. Cole, I know you got to roll, and then we're going to get into Michelle Hollis. So go ahead, Cole, final words. And if you want to end on anything involving Fauci, whatever, you do you, boo-boo.
Yeah, absolutely. And just remember that Fauci was at the head of the CDC in the beginning, flip-flopping on masks, flip-flopping on distancing. There were studies coming out from every single country that he could have read, that he could have consulted, scientists doing good work in Japan and other places. And just like any other government agency, the CDC decided to screw everyone, not apologize for it, and make themselves try and look like the heroes at the end. And, Fauci at the helm of that. Without his donation to the Wuhan lab of virology, don't forget that under the Obama administration, we probably wouldn't have this thing in the first place. So it was with this man's help we manufactured and beat the virus. That is the American government and corporate way. You manufacture a problem and you market the solution. This time it is corporate America and the government working together to screw us all over. So I like Sunni's philosophy of I don't even think about this crap. Keep it up, Sunni. That's where I'm trying to go. So hopefully that can materialize. Thank you guys again for having me on, and we will collaborate soon in the future. We'll see you tomorrow with Joe Jorgensen.
Sounds good. And I sent you guys the stream key so we can throw it up on here as well. So we'll have that Joe Jorgensen interview up and running. Cool. Thank you, Cole. Appreciate you, brother.
Yep. Thank you, guys. Look forward.
Well, I didn't do that. Usually that's me that does that. I didn't do that. I think he hit it early.
It was you. It's okay.
I didn't touch it. I swear to God, I didn't touch it. All right. Let's move into Michelle. Let's talk about this one. As a lot of you guys know, we had her on last week. I thought the conversation went great. I don't think any bit of it was aggressive in any way, shape, or form. After the show, she thanked me. She sent me a message afterwards thanking me again for being willing to have a conversation. To be very clear, I did not invite her on the show. She said she wanted to clear the air, and I said, come on, let's do that. So it was her idea to come on the show. I, of course, always welcome other beliefs. And she then, a day before this 13-minute video, and soon he's going to play 1 minute of it, this 13-minute video, she sent this beautiful message about how it opened her eyes, and it was such a great thing. And I appreciate, like, again, and I was like, my mom even read it. She's like, that almost made me cry. It shows like the power that you guys have to create change. And then I don't know what the fuck happened in a matter of 12 hours, but this is the video that she put up. Well, part of it. And Sunni's
so
hard
to live through.
Can y'all hear it?
The Holocaust at that time, you know what I'm saying? And I can have compassion for them. And I can say, like, when I see a Jewish person, I can say your family's strong for going through what they went through. But it's like people want to feel like there's no real pain, or we don't have that there's not things that need to be fixed, and it's just crazy to me. But it really hurts my heart because no person on earth should have to try to explain to someone why it's fucked up that they spend so much energy trying to prove that the black person deserves to fucking die, man. That's fucking bullshit, man. I don't give a fuck, man, okay?
Listen, I had so much fun making that video yesterday. I literally just sat at my computer and I'm like, what do I do with this? Like, I have to do something. Because she lied.
This isn't my style to talk, like to make fun of and talk shit. But that was to give the preface of what you felt on this. I accidentally stumbled on this video. She said there's 4 parts. There is 3 more parts that she reposted, but all it was 13 minutes, and it was 10 minutes of it. I'm like, I want to see what's going on. She looks upset. We just made friends again. Did not realize the whole video was bashing me, bashing BetheChange, all these different inflammatory remarks she made in it. So at this point, I very rarely that I say the gloves are off, but I really don't care. Like I've never had somebody turn that much on somebody that I was trying to do something for. And that's why I don't care that you made the video. And I could not appreciate more that you had my back, because it is one of those ones like, am I in a fucking bizarro world right now? Like,
no, and I've got to go after this because I got to get ready for my daughter's graduation. Yeah. She came on here, and I remember me and Russo talking about the show. He's like, I want you to come on because, we did that show together and it's about Ma'Khia Bryant. I'm like, yeah, cool. I'm there. And everybody was nice to her. Nobody made her feel uncomfortable. Nobody took away from her feelings. I did give her a bit of a reality check because I'm a black woman. You're not going to get on here and do this victim stuff. And I just sit here like la-di-da. Like, I don't do that with anybody else, so why am I going to do it with you? The show ended. Hasn't it been like a week? Over a week?
It was last Tuesday.
Yeah. Yo, Russo's like, look at IG when you wake up. So I'm looking at Instagram, and I was floored. At first, I was like fuming because I'm like, first of all, you lied. The only person you talk about is the white man on the cast. You don't even mention the fact that there was a black woman there saying the exact same thing he said. You made it seem like he belittled the situation and just picked on it and did all types of bad things. You villainized black people, and it wasn't even the truth. And number 2, you had no clue about any of the cases. You couldn't talk about Ma'Khia Bryant. You couldn't even talk about Breonna Taylor. She admitted herself, you know what? I don't know any of this stuff, guys. So I could very well be in my feelings, and I need to do a better job researching. She said it. Not me, not Russo, her. So for her to get on Instagram and make her series of videos, I felt like it was disgusting. And I told her, I went at her in the comment section. I didn't hide it. I'm like, yo, you're a piece of crap, man. And because she kept saying, well, I didn't mean it like that. She's responding. And I said, you know what you need to do? You need to come back onto his show and you need to offer an apology, because your words could very much so tear this complete thing down, because nobody, how do you know somebody's not going to watch that video, Google hashtag BetheChange, and say this is a racist group? How do you know, Michelle? You don't know, because you are reckless with your platform. And this is what happens, man, when you let feelings dictate your world. No tears, fake
No
snot,
tears. Zero
just
tears.
fake. I'm just so heartbroken. Like, no, you're not. You got embarrassed on the show is what happened. She got embarrassed because she had no clue what she was talking about.
This is what
No
I think
clue.
happened, Suni. Let me know if so I honestly didn't get bothered by it. I laughed at first. Kelly was in the room like, I want to like get really angry, and I'm like, whatever. It's just this shows the ignorance of what we're up against and what we deal with. And she then, by the way, came back with like more of information on Breonna Taylor, and was like, they were at the wrong house, which is like, that was the research you did after the show, because that research was the first thing that came out, and that was that was like, it's you have to use common sense and logic and look at the dates of articles and reporting and all this different stuff to put things together. Because I can find out that George Floyd never did drugs. Like, I mean, literally, you can find out so many different things. Right. So what I believe happened, Suni, is she had great feelings, had a great thing. She shared that post where she was very nice to me about 24 hours before that post. She shared her feelings and said, I had a great experience. Here's the link to the show. One of her friends watches it, gets upset with her and says, you didn't handle that the right way. This is what I'm thinking happened. Yeah. You didn't handle this the right way. You didn't know how did you not come in there ready to go at these guys? Or like they took, and then maybe somebody else like, they took advantage of you. You didn't know the fact that she talked about that. She's like, I didn't know I was going to be there to talk about the news. You literally said you had an issue with the way I presented the news. How are you not going to be there to talk about the fucking news? So you got shamed by your friends and then decided to take it on the one person that was willing to actually give a fuck and educate you and have a better conversation. And that's how you turned it around. This is the first time I've really got mad now that I'm saying it out loud, because it's absolutely absurd, the level of ignorance that came out through that video and the danger of what she did to you, me, whatever, anything I do with BetheChange. Because again, now she's got a bunch of her followers, because I mean, whatever there is. Saw a couple people making some of the dumbest comments I've ever seen. And one of them talked about F12, so F the police, all these different things. And that whole chain, I said, this is exactly what I'm talking about. You're making this, you're creating hate, more hate, and you've got now people hating the police. And it shows the level of ignorance and what the police have to go through, which she did say in that same video. She said police should be held at a higher standard, which I agree to a point. They should be held to a higher standard and be able to make those decisions. Of course, we want them to be, but they're human. And to be honest, if you watch the damn video and bring yourself to that pain, you'll realize they did make the right decision. And last comment, that dumbass in the comments that was talking about screw the police legitimately said that this police officer should have let her stab the other girl so that he could disarm her after one stab. You can't fix that level of idiocy. That's all I got.
That's it. I don't think people like understand our history, because I kind of just popped up, but I knew Russo. I knew of Russo before I even knew of Cash. Russo is following me on my other page. He used to like my post, and we've interacted a few times. But he's been one guy that has consistently encouraged me to keep doing what I'm doing. I'm not gonna lie. I even said it in a group chat. He's like, "You're gonna make me cry," but it's in all sincerity. So when you have somebody that goes after another person that has the best heart, and you try to twist things, and then you basically try to call him a racist, bro, because you came to a show and you weren't prepared. I don't have respect for that. So that's why you got a whole video made for you. Okay. I put your video on my platform, and there's not one comment that is in support of you. Everybody called you out. My children called you out. Okay. Because I was making this last night and they came in here cracking up. Why is she faking crying? These are children. They're not even adults. They didn't know what they were watching. They saw she was fake. So you earned this L. Take it on the chin, come back and try again. And you should apologize to your so-called friend. Seriously. because that was disgusting what you did, man. Just disgusting.
The reason
bro.
I even more believe as though it's for attention is after the way, and I was curious to see how this would play out. And I was like, I'm glad that I know that you recorded it, just because that is, it borderlines on defamation of character. But I was curious to see if this was for views, likes, drama, whatever it was, after getting torn apart by you in the comment box, after me making a couple comments, encouraging her to come back on, after the fact that you've now made a video about her, essentially calling her out. You would think at this point, because she keeps saying that's not what I meant. It's like, it's 10 minutes of 13 just being exactly what it means. You would think she would take it down. I was curious. She hasn't taken it down. This was for attention. This was to build some bullshit platform. I don't know. I really thought, I was afraid she was going to take it down before people saw it, because I wanted people to see it. Now that plenty of people have saw it, I think it's shocking she has not taken it down, because it is so blatant that she is slamming me, slamming BetheChange, slamming what we're all about. So, and it just shows we're against. And I'm going to let you sign off, but the way that we're spending this and the way that we'll wrap the show is about the guy, the Winston Boogie Smith, that has caused the riots in Minneapolis, with no real details out, and people are doing it. Why? Because they are meant to believe what Michelle believes, and it is just a blatant brainwash. Suni, go ahead and sign off.
I love you guys. I love you guys. I love the audience. I'm not going to stop. You all shouldn't stop. Michelle she's a non-factor, but you know what? I hope she does the right thing. I really does. I said I really does. I really do. And I think not even public humiliation, but just shame. Just knowing that what you did was absolutely wrong. I hope what you did hurt your heart as much as a little girl about to stab another woman in the neck. I hope it hurts you just as much. I hope what you did, which is you may or may not actually destroy somebody's platform. I hope that weighs on your heart as much as these quote unquote black deaths that are happening at the hands of white cops. So that is my closer. I don't know if she'll ever watch this. Maybe she is watching it, but do better, bro. Please do better.
Agreed.
I'm out of here.
All right. We'll catch you for Concert Vengers tomorrow night.
See you tomorrow.
Later. All right, we're going to wrap this pretty quick, Case. Just a couple things to talk about. People want to know about Minnesota. I want to bring it up. And to continue, I think it's what she brought up is interesting, because the way the news presents stuff, and this is to not Michelle's fault, because this is what everybody sees, is they see the news headline, white cop, white guy hunts down black man. There's a string of rapes happening in New York City, Suffolk County. And I saw an article written about a woman that was raped in broad daylight. And the way they described the subject was of darker complexion.
Well, it's the media. We already know the whole narrative. Like, look at the shooting in Boulder, right? He's Muslim, right? And Muslim of Islam or whatever. Whatever that is, the descendant is, but
followers of Islam or whatever it is. Yeah.
He white complexion, but the white guy goes and shoots up a grocery store, and all of a sudden the truth comes out. Oh, just kidding. He's not. He's white, but he's really not white. He doesn't fit our narrative. Stop talking about it.
The media so badly wants to villainize every white person, and I don't know why. Like, I understand the financial reasons for the hysteria around COVID. I get that. I see what Pharma wants to do. What is the benefit, unless you start going down a rabbit hole of conspiracies? What is the benefit of tearing our country apart by race again?
Well, the benefit is it's not much of a benefit to the media. Besides, it creates some attention and some viewers, even though viewership is declining significantly for the mainstream media, and it's going to alternative, which is still promoting similar stuff. It's just starting to cause this divide, which you're seeing on social media and all the platforms, it's dividing people. And that is what the system wants. The government wants that. The system and all the powers that be want that, because if we are not united, we can be manipulated and we can be changed and we can be misled. If we are united, you can't do that. We're a group, and you're going to have to really take over a big group and change them, which is almost impossible, which is why we always say united we stand, even though right now we're not really standing very united. And if we can't get this back under control somehow and start working together, it's going to be a tough time for a while until really hard times come, and then it will come back together.
Yeah. And I don't like using that. I don't even know if I'm allowed to say it, but the one world.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. The order, whatever you call it. I don't, but that to me is when you look at the way this is pushed so hard on race and division and separation, and then adding in the pandemic and adding in this, the only thing that makes sense, because financially you've got pharma reaping the benefits, but who else? What is the big game in terms of the race stuff? And that's the only thing I could see. And I feel like media is just a pawn in the big players game. Personal thoughts. So you got right now, and have you even seen much of the news of there's riots again in Minneapolis? Have you seen any of it?
I said it the day that the shooting happened. I was like, Minneapolis is on fire. And coincidentally, the shooting happens the day they are starting to take down the George Memorial.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's
George Floyd Memorial. And so, and it's the same city, same police department. It's like, what I've been waiting. I would be annoyed if I was all of these people in Minneapolis too. Where's the video footage? Let's get it out.
So do you know there isn't going to be? So that's another big thing. But again, the people that did the rioting and protesting the first night, and the second night had no idea. They just heard black guy killed by white police officer. So based on the way that their sheriff's department works, there is no body cams. There is no car footage based off of this police force that was doing. It was supposed to be some kind of a bust. And I don't think there is going to be camera footage, which is going to pose a huge problem. Yeah. So we're going to have to see where that comes down. But people didn't even know that when they started rioting. That's the problem. Yeah. Now, to know a little bit about Winston Boogie Smith, because ultimately there's only so much we can say, is immediately the reports were that they were trying to get him for a gun possession. He apparently had other crimes, because why else would they be doing this sting operation? And he brandished the firearm and allegedly pointed at a police officer at 2:20 in the afternoon. Minneapolis, I have not heard of riots in a night or two. I don't know. Again, the first night was pretty bad. Second, it started to hone down.
They're still gathering, but they're not rioting.
Right. It was just riots the first couple nights. And I have some friends that live out there. I think it's calmed down. But again, it's all a bunch of people. Right now, the fact that we know there's not body cam, if there's people that want to be mad, this would now be the time to be mad. And they were just mad at first because they heard black guy, white police officers, plain and simple.
White officer bad.
Yeah, white officer bad. Exactly. What else we got? Let's see. We're going to talk about Kamala. Should we save the Kamala because it's so fucking funny? Should we save that for we'll save that for Concert Vengers. I'm going to play the video and say preview for tomorrow night. So this is the clip that we'll be talking about on Concert Vengers tomorrow night at 9:00 Eastern time.
Why not visit the border? Why not see what Americans are seeing in this crisis?
Well, we are going to the border. We have to deal with what's happening at the border. There's no question about that.
Quickly put a button.
Okay.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
At some point, we are going to the border. We've been to the border. We've been to the border.
You haven't been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making.
Why not visit the border? Why not see what America?
I can't wait to talk about that. That's absolutely absurd. And then the last thing, I want to give a cash update real fast. So if anybody didn't catch Hannity last night, I've been in contact with Julie Kelly. Julie Kelly's badass. She posted a tweet about what's going on in there. And plain and simple, Newt Gingrich talked about it on Hannity, and he said the deplorable conditions, and he is spearheading a movement, hopefully of GOP politicians that are going to hopefully do something. Cash is also in a better mood. Sounds like a lot of people called to jail, and we have progressed and we've gotten some movement where the warden came down and checked on everybody, which is awesome. So it sounds like things are getting a little better. Conditions are getting a little better.
Yep.
Yeah, that's it. All right. Casey, final words. What do you got?
Final words. Tomorrow we'll be on with Joe Jorgensen, which will be awesome with Liberty Revolt. Like, I don't know what Russo's going to do. He's the weird conservative of the bunch, so he'll be outnumbered.
I'm more libertarian than you think, brother. What time? What is it? What is that? 11:30 Mountain, so
11:30 Mountain, so 1:30 Eastern.
Got it. And that'll be tomorrow. We'll make sure we're playing it through our platform. So tomorrow night, last thing, reminder, we've got Changemakers. Jermaine Jordan will be on. That's going to be a great show. Looking forward to that. Somebody creating change in his community. And then Conservengers following that. And I know that PTP has their shows tomorrow as well. Casey, last word?
So it's been on my mind since we talked about the cyber attacks. Just keep an eye out, guys. One, also protect your computers and your electronic devices. Don't click links that you don't know where they came from. Don't open emails you don't know where they came from. That is how you can protect yourself from those things spreading. And if you get the email, just don't open it, and then you're safe. You have to open the email to get it, or you have to click on the link to get stuff like that. So just be thoughtful. Like, yes, every device is vulnerable. Amazon even launched their new platform today that connected a whole bunch of their wireless devices. Even if it's not your house, it could be your neighbor's house, and they all connect together on one network. It's convenient that it's happening right now. A little weird. So just protect yourself and keep an eye out on those things and do good practices with your electronics devices for the time being. There could be some scary stuff potentially.
Yeah, absolutely. I have lost the window that we were on, funny enough. So I'm going to bring that back up. That's the last thing I got to say to you guys. Remember to share this live. Go ahead and hit the like button and make sure that, you stay kind to people. And if people are being assholes, be kind some more. And if they're assholes again, show them who's boss. You guys have a great day. Have a great night. And I'll talk to you soon. Be the change you wish to see in the world. Love you guys. Take it easy.